meeting of the Peru Plan Commission to order. Roll call, please.
Rick Day, absent. Sandy Faust.
Here.
Joe Mullenix.
Here.
Dave Moon.
Here.
Patricia Russell.
Here.
And Dennis C., absent.
Where is Dennis?
I don't know.
I got a big sob story last time. Okay. We have no old business that I know of. I don't even have a copy of the minutes. Do we have? We have nothing on
No.
there.
There was no meeting.
So I guess the meeting tonight is just about discussing what we want in our application for PUD developments, and we have a list of our samples of 6 different towns and what they use. And I really like one of them, mainly because I don't understand all this stuff, and it makes it the most simple of all of them, I think. And that is the city of Jasper.
Jasper.
Explained it very well. Yeah, it's got the flow sheet, it's got everything in there. We go down to Jasper, French Lick every year. And what they have done an excellent job with their whole renovation of the town, really. It's quite impressive. They've got some good people going on down there. So, has anybody got any comments? And Haley, you're the one really that's going to be doing this, so you need to jump right in there and tell us which one you like and why. And
Well, I also like the one with Jasper because it did kind of spell everything out. But at the same time, I feel like everything that we already asked for in our ordinance is what they're asking in the applications in the other communities. It's just more broken down in their applications, which is a good thing for a lot of people. But I put in what I have already for ours that I've taken out of our ordinance, of what is required for our ordinance. And I just didn't know if you guys wanted to add in a few more questions. I can always go through the Jasper one and try and add more in from that one.
Did Dustin look at all of this?
He has not yet, no.
He's not.
No.
And have we contacted Jim Tidd about any of this? What's the developers, the guys that are developing, want to do this development, have done 2 more of these up north.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be in Miami County. So they would have had to go through a process like this prior to this.
Gotcha.
So I
Okay.
thought maybe Jim Tidd might have some.
I haven't talked to him about the application itself. I have talked to Jim Tidd about what they've started doing down there. But,
I read over them, and pretty much what you've got on there pretty much works for me. Although, again, I'm a novice at this with the planned unit development thing.
right,
We've never actually done one in this town. Maybe in the 2-mile zone, there's
right.
a couple like that. But, so from a legal standpoint, I can't answer one way or the other, legally what we have to have in it and what we can
Right.
get out of it. But the simpler we make this process,
Mm-hmm.
and with the land that we have in city proper, I have a strange feeling this will be the last one.
Actually, I believe they're talking about trying to do a development over by where Taco John's is, like behind there. And that would definitely be a PUD, because it'll have commercial and residential in it, all in the same vicinity of each other. This one that we're talking about for right now, down there by the Y, that's mostly the residential. But they're, so I was confused whether it should be a PUD or a subdivision. And if it was a subdivision, that meant they would subdivide the houses that they're building, and then they would sell them off to new buyers. Well, as it is, the developers are they're keeping all of it, and it's
You'll
just
be
going to be a
renting.
renting. Yeah. So that's why
That's fall into that category.
yeah, so that's why I was like, PUD is probably the way to go, because they're going to have a bunch of covenants, and that way we can know in the future, whoever's in this position and whoever's in your guys' position will know that there are certain rules that they have to abide by. So that's why I figured we should probably get this going.
Yeah, and that opens it up. I know when I was going to the meetings for the Y, it was discussed that possibly when things got established, somebody want to put in a coffee shop or some small businesses in that area.
Right.
And that would definitely make it a PUD, so. Okay.
The question I've got, because I was going to be an oddball side here, I know like in Elkhart's, it talked about digital submissions and also paper submissions. Do we have that in ours?
In ours, it says that we need,
I can't get to anything at home right now, it's all packed up.
gotcha. Hang on, let me find it real quick. I know it says that it needs at least 3 copies to give to the plan commission. Not real positive why it has to be 3. Maybe it's so that way, honestly, I don't know. But it says that they have to have at least 3 copies of their whole site plan. And, I mean, I would figure that I could just scan it in, and it could be a digital copy that way. I think it's,
When they say stuff like that, that'd be one for the planning commission, one for the city council, one for the building department. So they
Gotcha.
have a copy.
Yep, yep.
And that way it puts the onus on the developer to make the copies and so forth.
gotcha,
Other than
okay.
that,
Some of those can get expensive to make.
Right, yeah.
I mean, when you see what paperwork comes through
Mm-hmm.
on this, it's going to be quite a bit. And then there's going to be some plot maps,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, which would be hard for us to do here. So
Right.
that's why they're asking for it.
Gotcha, okay. That makes
Or at
more
least that's what
sense.
was explained to me.
Right, that makes a lot
That
more
makes a
sense.
lot of sense.
I know the mayor and the building commissioner and Jim Tidd had already been with the developers and have had a meeting with them. And the building commissioner showed me their site plan that they have right now. They're not starting anything, they don't have any permits or applications or anything like that. They're still in like the developing stage as well. But yeah, the papers were like this big, and there's plat maps and all this other stuff, so, but.
Is there any kind of a timeline that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of right now. I had called you and Joe last week or the week before, whenever I heard that they were moving stuff. That was just to move the concrete. So that way, when they're ready to start, they can go ahead and start. And it was a no-fault agreement or something.
Not hold liable.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
I forget
Yeah.
the exact terms. but yeah.
Right.
They're doing this on their own.
Yeah.
This is gratis work that they're doing to prepare. They figure they don't have anything to lose by doing a little bit of this stuff first, you know?
Right.
Because there's going to have to be soil samples and
Right.
all that kind of stuff because of what it was there before.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Okay. I think what I really liked about the Jasper one, for our purposes, not necessarily, I'm sure the people who are going to fill in the application are very well aware of all this stuff. But where they had the flow sheet, the process checklist, I love that, because you can look at it and see exactly what's coming next.
yeah.
Especially for somebody that doesn't do this all the time.
Yeah,
Right.
If you get a small developer that doesn't do this all the time, it helps them make sure they don't miss a step.
Okay.
So we could include it in ours?
Hmm?
So we could include something like this in ours?
I mean, that's no big deal. We could do that very easily. Just
Yeah.
pay it
Yeah.
out.
Um,
Yeah, in fact, just copy it.
We just have to make sure all of these steps
Everything
It's
is
not
actually line
copyrighted.
up with what we.
with what we're doing, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Make sure it's not copyrighted.
It wouldn't.
Well, I'd make my own. I'd put it in our own words and stuff. I did talk to the Plan Commission director over in Kokomo, and he said that there were a lot of, how did he word that? There were a lot of meetings before the actual Plan Commission meeting, like a little committee would go and talk with the developer, and they would get everything in order before they would actually take it to the Plan Commission. And then, once it goes to the Plan Commission, he said that it definitely goes to the Common Council. Because, I mean, ultimately, it's a rezone. It's a rezoning map on the map, so, yeah, so I did find that out. And he also said, he would have been here tonight, but he has a BZA meeting at 7, so he wasn't going to be able to make it. But he did give me his phone number, so if any of you want to call his office, and if you have questions about the PUDs or anything like that, then he said that he's more than happy to help us try to get everything going,
That's great.
so.
Are we going to have application fees?
Yeah, it's already in the zoning board book. It's, I think, $100
It's in the-
as of right now for a
Okay.
PUD.
Now, is that broken down per unit or per project?
I believe it's per project, but let me check real quick. I got it right here.
That sounds awful low for,
It's very low compared
Because
to
there's
other communities.
several different ones here. Application fees for special exception, variance, special meeting, rezoning, PUD, plat, residential and commercial and industrial.
Yeah, okay, so the plan unit development is 100, and that's strictly for the application and the whole project. And then the subdivisions, if this were to be a subdivision, then that's $50 for the whole thing, plus $5 per lot. So,
Because they're going to fall under different things, but I don't think the $100 is excessive or too little, to tell you the truth. All we're doing is processing the paperwork at this point.
but my thought is that she's got more than $100 in time processing their paperwork.
actually, that's something that I was gonna bring to you guys at the beginning of, well, maybe not the beginning of the year, but sometime next year. Talk about maybe upping our fees, because we're on the way low totem pole of Indiana.
What was that again?
We're on the, like, real low.
What was the whole thing again?
Oh, I was gonna, in the next year, I was gonna bring, the fees for the zoning variances and applications and stuff, maybe upping them a little bit, because we're like super low, compared to other communities and stuff.
Okay, when we say other communities, though, just to be clear, cities of our size,
Logan Sport, Wabash.
well, see, now those are both Class 2 cities where we're a Class 3 city.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
See, they're a much larger city, so they will have a lot more of this stuff going on
Right,
than
right.
we will.
Okay.
So,
I believe Rochester's even ahead of us.
I believe Rochester's also a Class 2 city.
Are they?
I think so.
Oh,
But
okay.
again-
Well, I'll
Yeah,
do more
let's-
digging on that,
let's
because
find
those,
that out and
I
then-
just did the surrounding area, really, on the,
Sure.
and a few of the, like, higher up, like, northern, but I'll do more digging on that before I, like, get a hold of you guys and let you know.
What do you think about adding the flow chart?
Yeah, I feel like that's a very good idea, so that way the developers and everybody, including us, know what's going up and what's next. But that brings me to, what did I do with the flow chart? I have too many papers. I know it says on the flow chart that it says something about preliminary hearing and final hearing. If I could find it, I could,
Pre-application
The meeting
meeting,
date?
technical
Yeah.
review, public.
got all my stuff mixed up now.
I mean, we can make it match what our ordinance says,
Right.
and
Yeah,
a lot of this stuff is all stuff that you guys, I think, are technically doing upstairs behind the scenes prior to it actually coming down to us.
Right. Well, see, the thing is with PUDs is the plan commission has almost full control. Like, they can tell the developer, no, you can't put this building here, or yes, you can. It also deals with, like, utilities and public sewer and all that stuff too. So you guys are the ones that actually make the decision if their site plan is good, or if they need to tweak a couple things, or, so the building department really doesn't have a whole lot to do with that part of it. I mean,
They'd be the,
Yeah, but I was talking about just even within zone, not zoning, but the plan commission side of it, you're gonna be hearing this stuff, you're gonna be.
Oh,
talking
yeah,
to
yeah,
them,
yeah.
all
I
that
see what you're saying.
Prior to even some of the applications, so that they fill it out properly.
right, right. I see what you're saying.
You're familiar with everything
Right,
prior to all of us getting involved.
right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So,
Then they still gotta come back and do building permits and layouts and
Mm-hmm.
all that.
yep. And actually, in the PUDs, we can, I guess, waive setbacks if need be. I did read that in our ordinance and stuff, so.
I don't think in this project setbacks are gonna be a real
Yeah, no,
issue,
I-
because
Right.
there's gonna be duplexes and sixplexes, and then the one retirements.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're gonna have to leave some space in between.
Right, right.
That, to spread it out a little.
Right.
So I don't think we're gonna actually have an issue, but yes.
Yeah, where we're at, I don't think that, I never even thought about setbacks,
Um,
'cause that work.
What do you think about putting together a small group to attend these meetings with Haley to help her out with this?
sure.
Make sense to you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, that way it's not,
That work for
makes
you?
sense.
Yeah.
I'd
That
be
works.
happy to come down anytime you need it. that kind of
Okay.
stuff, so.
Yeah,
But yeah, whoever's available or something. Just that one person or how many other people, make sure the other members of the board are informed of what went on. So if we do have to switch out, they don't have to play catch up.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
a lot of that, if Haley just sends out an update,
Right.
sends
Yeah,
out a email, we'll all get it,
right.
keeps us up, so.
Yep, I can do that.
Well, if this takes as long to get off the ground as the Y did, we're going to be old and,
If they're already trying to do groundwork down there, just for prep, I would say they're gonna wanna move pretty quick once they move.
Well,
I hope.
I mean, that's just guesswork, because I don't know any of them, so.
well, I've talked to Jim about this. They've done this. There's two more that I'm aware of in the northern part of Miami County that they've done. So they are not familiar with this process.
Gotcha.
Up to this point, so.
Yeah.
I drove by one of the developments. It's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really nice, as a matter of fact. So,
Yeah,
Again, which tells me they're familiar with the process. They're willing to go ahead and put a little bit of money into land prep.
yes.
And so once they decide to move, they're gonna be ready to move.
Well, that also covers them too, though.
Right.
Because they've done some land prep, they can see what they're getting into.
Mhm.
And so they spend a little money here to make sure that.
Right.
it's gonna
They're not
be
spending a lot more later.
They're not gonna find some really weird thing down there or something,
Right.
or they buried a B-58 out there or something.
Yeah.
I
right.
have a question. Once this is started, the entrance to this project,
Mm-hmm.
say it's Forest Street off of Main,
Okay.
who is in charge of making that bigger, better, wider, prettier, whatever? Is that as planning commission, do we have any say in that? It doesn't belong, that street doesn't belong to that piece of property. But if you're going to have a nice housing area and a nice Y, you want a nice entrance to it.
Right.
And Forest Street doesn't qualify. It needs to be, I don't know, maybe a little median and,
Right.
flowers, a sign or something. Who would actually be in charge of that?
That's a good question.
Well, it is a public street.
Yeah, so
City.
that's what I was thinking, it would be
So
city.
now, if the developer wanted to kick some money into spruce that up or something, that could be possible, but, and you'd have to check with Dustin, but from a legal standpoint, I'd say that falls on us
Yeah.
for a beautification or something along those lines.
But again, I think that's one with Jim and the TIF districts and stuff like that, some of that money can be used.
Of course, when we see their plot maps and all that, we'll see
It'll, yeah,
what they're looking at.
because really,
and all
they
that, because
probably need two entrances.
We're just,
exit.
anything that we would talk about those particular things right now, we'd be totally guessing.
Yeah.
It'd be
Who
conjecture.
knows?
Because until we see what their plan is and all that, because face it, Canal Street.
Yeah, that's all going to need to be
We're gonna
reworked
get
down there.
some work down there and all that. 'cause
Right.
There's gonna have to be some sidewalks and stuff like
Yeah.
that and all that, so. But, yeah, so, once we see the plot maps and that, then we can make a more informed
Yeah, I'd really like to see it.
questions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it entails? How many buildings, how many units, what kind of units?
I saw it, the plat maps that they have as of right now. I can't remember the actual number, but I know there was duplexes, there was,
There's
Quad-
duplexes and sixplexes.
and there's also single-family homes too that they're going to be building. And then there's also going to be the apartments, like the ones down there by the old movie theater. Well, it used to be the old movie theater. There's going to be assisted living as
Now,
well.
Don't quote me on this, but I think it was a total of 170 units total.
Maybe. I know it's
So
it's
they're
going to
looking
be,
at taking all of the land and basically east of the Y?
yes,
Between the Y and the
Okay.
event center, yes.
yep.
Okay.
But they have to have, leave quite a bit of green space
Mm-hmm.
percentage.
Well, I think it's only 10% actually that they have to leave for green space, and there's going to be lots. Like, I want to say that they're going to be putting, no, I'm not going to say that because I'm not real sure.
You can say anything because we know
Not
it's
a
going
big
to
issue.
change.
Again,
Right.
we'll see the plot map and see what their actual plan is, and then bring it
Until
to the
until they're ready for that.
Right.
So-
But I know it's gonna have its own roads, and everybody's gonna have their own driveways. It's gonna be pretty much like a subdivision, just minus the subdivision part.
Right, right.
So, but,
Okay. Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions, any comments?
I
can't think of
I
any.
don't
How about
know
you?
enough to
Anything?
ask questions yet.
Nothing? Okay.
So,
I make a motion then that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.